have to realize that when you're talking about trade and economics for our folks, it's just a lot of things that go with that. It's just not merely establishing a few businesses and having a few products be a gross national product. That's all part of it. But there's the little things, the minute details that mean a whole lot, and you have to nail them all down. You know, when you're talking about dealing with the sea lanes, now you're talking about salt treaty stuff and things along that line. If you're party to the salt treaty issues, it's just so many things that you have to take a look at. For first of all, you have to know about international discourse sufficient for you to even be able to negotiate contracts sufficient for you to establish civil trade. You have to have courts of the original jurisdiction for various disputes. There are a lot of things that can occur on both sides. When you talk about import-export, sometimes you have to have the licensing issues sorted out, and if you're not familiar with that, you got problems with that. Do you even have your own line of ships? What do you know about building or refitting ships? What do you know about steam refreshing? What do you know about fire control aboard deep sea vessels? What do you know about lubrication, satellite communications, navigation, port logistics, sea logistics, machinist matters? It's just a lot of things you have to deal with in terms of making sure that your holes are in proper order, dealing with bilge waters. It's just a lot. You can end up for days uh, being not properly suited because you haven't taken time to look into what ventilation is, uh, refrigeration, dunnage, a whole lot of things that you have to prepare for on the vessel itself. And the crew has to be prepared to address a wide variety of issues when they're at sea. Not to mention the fact you have to know what's happening when you're preparing to deal with a pilot of whoever's harbor or port you're getting ready to enter. Their pilots have various things that they have to address, and you have to address regarding them. You know, then when you get when your ship is tied up, there's a whole lot of things that you have to deal with that to make sure that warping is taken care of properly, and then there's things have to be loaded and unloaded. So now you're dealing with those who work on the docks, and the protocol and procedure with various docks all over the world can vary from one place to the other. So you have to take a look at these things. There may be duties, there may be levies, a whole host of tariffs or tariffs, and a whole bunch of things that you have to look at. And by and large, the Moors in general are just now starting to come back to life in certain things. The Mexican Empire Imperial Government operates under my command. We can do all these things, and we are able to proceed because we have done our due diligence, and we continue to do our due diligence, so that when it comes to any type of trade, we're able to do that. Because if you're going to have a situation where you're saying, look, we have to be able to provide a wide variety of products and services for our folks, and we need to be able to uh, provide work for our folks as well as Moors. Well, then you have to be prepared to engage in these things I'm speaking about thus far, because it's part of making sure that your economic development is stable or can be stable and can expand. Because if you have a situation where you're involved in international trade and you have all of your due diligence done, it's a stronger position for you. And the stronger your position, obviously, the better it is for your economy. Now, our folks need institutions that are of by and for the Moors. And our folks need folks who have experiences to make those institutions relevant in the lives of the folks that these institutions are designed to touch. So as a consequence of that, you have to have folks who have done their homework, have continuously shown that they are artisans, continuously shown that they have mastered their craft, and that they take their work seriously, and that they do excellent follow-up work on that which they do perform. And so when folks begin to see that, they see value in whatever goods and services you do make available as a rule. And when they come to that, then they will they come to a point when they can rely on whatever your goods and services are. And when you get them there, it even helps you in your marketing, it's true, but it most certainly helps you in perceptions that folks have, because they say, listen, I can trust this particular product or service from this particular body of folks because they have shown that they are competent, but they've also shown that they are committed to that which they're competent in. So we have so many things that we have been coming into over the last 30 to 40 and 50 Earth years in a gradual setting. It's accelerated dramatically over the last 20 Earth years. And the Moors are coming together and they're putting in work and they're getting things done. Some of the bodies are lagging behind others, but that's to be expected. You will have different folks moving at different rates. They'll be growing at a different pace. But nonetheless, it's still growth there that we can measure. Now, as our folks go, as we grow and develop, you'll be able to provide more services, more goods, and when you begin to have more available, obviously, where you have demand for things, and you're providing supply, obviously, the more you're able to supply, the more you can satisfy the demand and develop what they refer to as market share. The larger your market share by default, you should see a rise in your gross national product, as they say. And so, as the Moors begin to wake up and stand on their own 2 feet, as we begin as a collective of houses to become more cohesive in our efforts to provide the psycho-socioeconomic options unto our folks who are looking for such, you'll begin to see where our folks really and truly do begin to come into their own. And I am grateful unto the Creator and all of our beloved ancestors for all that we've been allowed to achieve that allows us to play our part, to perform our role in the rise, the ascension of the Moors paradigm on this particular planet. And I look forward to the continued development that we are allowed to have. Not just the Mexican Empire, but any other house of the Moors that is doing things in a positive fashion, doing things in a non-hostile fashion. And I look forward to being able to share with any body of Moors a method for us to do even greater works in harmony with the Creator and our beloved ancestors. And we're open to ideas, and we trust that the other houses will be open to ideas as well. So I think this was a really good conversation that we had today. The discussion is on a very relevant topic, and we need to cover things like this more often. And I look forward to seeing all of you again. And until we are all back in the same place, may all of you see and experience peace, good prosperity, and excellent health. And so with that, I give my honor, respect, and love unto all of you. Islam.